Hey guys, Rachel and Brentley here, and today we want to walk you through a mental health overview. Mental health is something that we're talking about more and more with students these days, and we really want to prepare you guys as you step into some of these conversations with your small group. Now, there's lots of studies and statistics out there, but we've seen that about 1 in 4 students can struggle with anxiety and 1 in 10 with depression. So we do want to prepare you for having these conversations because you could have maybe 2 students in your group that struggle with anxiety and 1 with depression. So some of the factors that can contribute to these mental health struggles are technology, social media, academic or social pressure, maybe things that students are seeing in the news, and even just cultural shifts. So before we go any further, we do want to talk about something that we call the 3 hurts. And these are things that if your student mentions them to you, you can't just keep them confidential and you need to come talk to someone on the student staff about them. So the first is if someone is hurting the student. The second is if the student is harming someone else. And the third is if the student is harming themselves. So it's better to talk about it with us than keeping it confidential and maybe something happening to the student or to someone else. So again, if the student even asks you to maybe keep it a secret, make sure that if it's one of these 3 things that you come and talk to us about it. Mm-hmm. So now Rachel's going to start us off with some of the steps for approaching mental health with students.
Yep. Okay, so the first step that we're going to look at is recognizing the signs. So we're mainly going to be talking about anxiety and depression like Brentley was talking about. So the definition of anxiety is an emotion characterized by tension, and this can be emotional and physical, and it's not just worrying. Worry is more of a thought, and anxiety is the thought and the physical symptoms. So some of the physical symptoms that you might see with anxiety are emotional and physical tension, a rise in blood pressure, headache, stomach ache, change in mood, trouble concentrating. And then depression, the definition of that is some define this as a dark, heavy cloud over their life that's characterized by sadness, despair, negative thinking, and this can be physiological, spiritual, or based on both. And some signs of depression are not enjoying favorite activities, sleeping too much, feeling worthless or guilty, changes in appearance, and changes in friend groups.
Yeah. And now step 2 is just be an authentic role model. So let students know that they're not alone. Be authentic and transparent with them. And here you could even share some of your experience with mental health struggles, but also make sure you kind of keep boundaries on how much you share with students. Make sure you listen more than you talk. Listen with empathy and respond with curiosity. The big thing here is that students don't care about what you know until they know that you care. So make sure that they know that you are there for them, that you love them, be present, and just remember you don't need to have all the answers.
Our third step is to teach active coping skills to your students. So first is to recognize and challenge their negative thoughts. And a helpful acronym for this is the THINK acronym. So T is for truth. Is this thought true? H is for helpful. Is this thought helpful? I is for inspiring. Does this thought inspire you? N is for necessary. Is this a necessary thought? And K is for kind. Is this thought kind to myself or others? Another coping skill is teaching students to share their worries to someone who won't over-lecture, helping them gain perspective. Again, listening is super important for you in this role. Another coping skill is engaging in activities, so helping your students think of things that they like to do. So getting outside, feeling the sun, moving their body, giving themselves a sense of accomplishment, things like that. And then regular check-ins are also really good for students that have anxiety and depression. So asking them on a scale of 1 to 10 how they're doing today, this week, or a head, heart, body check-in and how they're feeling overall might be really helpful.
Great. And then our fourth and final step is just to make a plan. It's really good to have an idea of what to do before your student needs help or maybe even hits a crisis. So definitely refer students with more intense needs to appropriate mental health services like professional counselors and psychiatrists. Come talk to us and we can get them plugged in with other counselors and services. And again, this kind of goes back to the 3 hurts. If any of those 3 things are happening, make sure you come and talk to us about it. Also, it's a good idea to have students create a list of people that they can talk to, whether it's therapists or people in their family or friends that they know and that they trust that they can go to when they're having a hard time. And lastly, recognize the risk factors for suicide. These can include talking or writing about suicide or giving away possessions. And there's other things that you can ask us about or even research online.
Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that you guys know it's not your job to know everything. It's not our job to know everything. It's okay. And it's okay to tell them, I don't know at times. Mm-hmm. You don't have to know all the answers. And also, we don't want you guys to immediately jump into just giving them Bible verses to help. We want you to validate their experiences and feelings and let them know that you care and that you're listening and appreciate and encourage their vulnerability and courage in talking about these things, because that's really hard to talk about those things. And being present makes a difference. I'm sure you've heard of a lot of leaders that being present in their students' lives, they've gained a lot of trust. And so that's a really big deal to just be present in their lives. If there's a situation that's a lot for you while you're leading as a small group leader, taking a step back is healthy. We'd love to talk through that situation with you and keep you healthy as a leader. So thanks for taking the time to learn more about mental health. It's something that's important to know as a leader, and it's something that's really important to us.